All right, go.
All right, we're whoa, apparently we're live, aren't we? No?
I'm not have it on there.
Okay. Well, we're good?
All right, you're live.
The high-tech Manteca says we're live?
It might come on in a second.
Okay, well, we will start. Evaluating community resources is modular one of the Community Organization Training and Technical Assistance Program's learning curriculum. This is the first of 8 workshops that we'll be doing. This is the first time we've tried to do this live over the internet, so this will be a new experience for all of us, and we'll wave. Everybody wave at the camera. I want everyone to wave at the camera to any of those who may be watching at home, and hopefully they're nice and warm. Okay. I am what's left of Mark Parman. I am the Evaluation and Outcomes Measurement Specialist for the Community and Cultural Outreach, which includes part of the COTTA program. Tonight, we will be talking about evaluations and how you will use them or can use them or should use them in your communities. For those of you who are new to our curriculum program, here's a model of it. We're basically right here, right at the beginning. This is level 1 of Mod 1. We will be learning very basic skills at this level. As we go through the program, of course, you will proceed on down the line as you gain more knowledge, more skills, more abilities. But tonight, we're at the very basic level. We'll look at this level. It's foundational. We have high needs level of support. That's what we're here for, is to help support you all. Of course, as we build, you will finally become established organizations, stand on your own. That's our goals, is to help you get there. Some things that you need to be discussing with your fellow board members are, what do these skills look like in our community? How do we behave? What does at this level, what should we be doing? Those are the things that you need to be discussing within your community and decide for yourselves what those look like. We're not going to tell you, because each one of you is different. Each one of your communities is different. Each one of your boards is different. So have those discussions, please. Okay, so we're going to start off with a word that I don't really like, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Excuse me. What are assessments, and why do we need them? Why are we spending an hour and a half, 2 hours tonight discussing these with us? So, the first thing we want to start off is with a little brainstorming. We're going to start trying to get you to think about your community and things that you would like to see happen there. So, just with your paper on your notes there, I want you to make a list. Imagine that your community plans to make improvements to benefit that community. I want you to think about, what should be done, that would help make your community a better place to live. Don't think about limitations. Time and money are not concerns at this point. So what I'd like you to do is, let's take about 3 minutes, and just as quick as you can, just run through some things run things down on your list. Just get some things down. This one is just get something written down. So let's 3 minutes. Okay. tell if anybody's playing along at home? Yeah, who asked that question? We got 1 minute left, so get them written down. We'll have no laughing. This is serious business. We'll kick you out of class for laughing.
As long as I get it clean, still say I win.
Yeah. Okay, we got some things written down there. Good. You know, everybody got at least one thing written, right? Okay. We'd like to have you in the 3 minutes. If we'd gone through a little exercise to get your brains rolling, you should have had somewhere in around, 15 or so in that 3 minutes. So those are all things that we want you're going to want when you go back to your board meeting. Let's talk a little bit about assessment. This is a word I really don't like, mostly because it talks about appraisal, taxation. It has these value type of definitions associated with it. I really prefer the word evaluation because we do it all the time. We evaluate stuff all the time. Did anybody drive here today? Anybody? Okay, well, the couple back there, you guys walked? Okay. Well, that's good for you. I'm glad you're getting your exercise. This is good. That's good stuff. Way to go, guys. Appreciate that. But if you're driving, those of you who did made evaluations constantly. As you changed lanes, as you made turns, as you came up on street lights.
That's not right. I did the driving, she did the evaluation.
Yeah. Yes, I understand that under your conditions, yes, you should have been getting a good co-pilot. And those of us on the road, we're glad that you did. But someone in that car was evaluating the conditions all the time. You're making judgments. You're gauging things. When you think about evaluating, you're trying to see if something works. It's about how do we get better. I really like that word, much better than assessment. And a lot of times this evening, you'll see assessment on the board, and I'll be saying evaluation because to me, that's a much kinder word. And one that really applies about what we're doing. Because if we think about what an evaluation is in Indian country, we do that all the time too. What did we do, with this program? How did it work? Did people come? Did they have a good time? Were the goals that we set for that workshop, were they met? Our goals met as well as theirs. We're asking people, how did that go for you? We do that within our program all the time. Again, this evening, you will be handed out an evaluation form where we're going to ask, how'd we do? If you don't tell us, guess what? This is as good as it's ever going to get. So we really depend on your feedback and how if we want how to get better. You're going to tell us. We're starting to talk about our annual conference again, and Chris is asking for data from last year. What did you all think of the different workshops? Which ones did you like? Which ones didn't you like? All those things are going into this year's planning already. So, when you evaluate, you're just asking how we're doing. That's really what that question's about. What direction do you want to go with your community? Which needs are you going to select to address within your community? And does the community agree with that? Will the action taken that you're going to take, is that really going to help? How are you going to know if it really helps? Does the community agree with you? What about any long-term plans? Is that going to fit into your long-term plans for your community? And if so, how do you know that it does for the community? And are they lined up with you? Is this a priority? Is this what we ought to be doing first? How are we going to know those things? What's the easiest way to find out if this plan of action that we're about to take is important to our communities? What's the easiest way to find out? Ask, right. You ask. That's all an evaluation is ask. We're going to talk about different ways to ask, but that's really what it is asking. How are we doing? Does this plan meet your needs and your family's needs? Is this a priority to you? Asking those questions are what's going to move your community forward, move your organization forward. When you plan, typically what we end up doing is we plan, we take some action, and then we see how the community reacts. And generally speaking, this is more or less the type of reaction we're going to get. Why is that? Why does it turn out that way? Because we didn't ask. If we plan, if we evaluate this plan with the community to see if they agree, if we put in an action based on that evaluation, we're going to get a community reaction that's a lot more like this because they bought into it. It's their plan too. It's not something that, some folks on high have come in and said, well, you need this. This is what you need. Here. You're going to say, no, I don't. Whether you want it or not. My reaction is going to be, get that out of here. Because that's the kind of obnoxious and person I tend to be. But if they ask me, if I've had feedback into the plan, if I can see in this final plan where they've taken my suggestions and plugged some of those in, maybe not all of them, but some, then it becomes my plan too. And I'm going to be a whole lot happier with the way it comes out because it was part of me. So sometimes we don't need to evaluate. If you've got a particular purpose for an action, or it's a one-time thing, you're going to do it once, or you've got all the help you need, all the volunteers you need to do this thing, you've already got. All the money that you're going to need to do this thing, you've already got. So, how many people have ever run into that problem? Where you've already got everything you need to do it. Yeah, it don't happen very often. But, should it happen, maybe you don't need to do an evaluation. I would argue that you probably ought to do it anyway to get in that habit. Because, we're in a habit when y'all come to one of our trainings or one of our conferences, one of our meetings, we ask all the time. How many of you have seen me bar the door and say, you can't leave until you give me the evaluations? Anybody see me do that? Yeah, okay, yeah, we got, well, yeah. 3 weeks ago we had a Saturday training, and there were some new people there. And I told these ladies that they couldn't leave because they hadn't put their evaluation on the table. They thought I was joking. We got their evaluation.
Was it a good one?
I don't know, because it was anonymous. I didn't look to see what they wrote, because I never look to try to put something like that with a person, because I want them all together, and then I'll go look at them 2 or 3 days later, so that I really don't know who said what. Because all I want to know is what you thought. I don't really care who said what. Because, what you really care about is that in data. 73 people who attended thought this was the best thing since sliced bread. And, 3%, decided that, this should have been composted days ago. Whatever it is, you got to have that data. And that's what I want. That's what you want. You don't really care at that point who said what to who and where. It's, what does the data tell us? So, yeah, we're going to get really deep into that. Evaluation is an important part of interactions between people in the community and the organization that wants to serve them. If you're not asking folks to come join us, take part, volunteer, here's a service that we might be able to provide your family. If you're not talking to them about that, then they're not going to know that you exist. And that's one of the things that, if you're out there talking, evaluating what you're doing, they're going to know that you're there. They're going to know that you care. Most folks don't really care how much you know till they know how much you care. And at that point, you've got partners, because they're going to care too. I mean, I know that because you're here with us tonight, that you people care about your community. And I'm excited to be in your presence, because you're great people, because you care about your fellow man. And I just love hanging out with folks like that, because it makes me feel good, to know how good people can really be, and y'all are the best. It's one of the great things about working in this program is we get to hang out with the best people in the Cherokee Nation, and that's y'all. So I thank you all for coming. Okay, but evaluations are evidence. Why does your organization need evidence of that you're doing stuff? Somebody shout out something. Say it loud. Funding. Ooh. Does anybody here ever ask anyone for funding? Yeah. Yeah, but why else would we want to have evidence? What's another reason?
Your success.
What's that?
Your success rate.
Find out if you're successful. Okay, that's so right? Okay, there's to get more funding, to find out whether or not we're successful. What's another reason that you're going to want some evidence?
Accountability.
Accountability to who?
The community.
The community. Who else? Yourself. A funder. So the person. So there's a lot of reasons that you want accountability. What's another reason you're going to want some evidence of success?
Know what to do in the future.
So you know what to do in the future? How many of you, your organizations, already have all the volunteers you need? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I've never seen one of those either. To recruit people, if you're doing stuff, if you're excited about what you're doing, people are going to be drawn to that. If you've got evidence that says, hey, our food bank is serving, 375 families each month, they want to be a part of that. People will come to your organization and volunteer to watch you burn down because you're excited about what you're doing. It's weird, but they will. It's like we need to get close to this flame because this is nice and warm, and I want to get over here next to this. People will do that. So let them know how excited you are to be able to serve, and they'll come to you. You'll find, but you got to have those evidence. We're serving these people. We've got this number that come each month. We provided so many turkeys at Thanksgiving or whatever it is. We went to clean up the park and 300 people showed up. Whatever it is, make sure you have evidence of that, because that's going to draw more people to you. We're like moths to the flames, folks. We really are. And folks will come just to watch you burn yourself out. And to keep from doing that is you draw them in and you hook them and you get them to come help with the work. And then you don't burn down, but you've built the fire for everybody. Okay. Funders like evidence, don't they? You know, how many of you either last year received or this year applied for one of the COTTA grants? Okay, I'll say a bunch of you. Why do we need evidence of what you did with that grant? Accountability? What was the back?
That we did it.
Yeah. Where does that money originate? The money that you got through the COTTA program? Do you all know? Okay, I'll tell you what, it's gonna be one of two things. It's either gonna be a federal grant or it's gonna be money that the Cherokee Nation businesses generate. So it's one of those two. Which one do you think it is?
Cherokee Nation.
It's money that the Cherokee Nation generates. So this is brand new. This is money that belongs to the nation. It belongs to y'all as citizens. So who decides who gets that money? It ain't me. I ain't on that committee. Who decides who? If there's a bunch of Cherokee money, who decides who gets that money?
Administration?
They part of it. Who divvies up the money though to begin with?
That's what we've been trying to figure out the last 6 months.
I'll give you a hint. Who are these folks? Yeah, they make, they approve the budget. And believe me when I tell you, when it's money that has no federal strings attached, there's a lot of people going, ooh, we can spend that money really well. Ooh, come give us money, please, please. We do it too. But if we don't have evidence that says that, y'all did whatever, if we can't show them, what that money bought, we're not going to get any more. Somebody else is going to get that money. So, if you want to see that happen, just don't tell us what's going on. We won't know, and we won't be able to answer those questions. Because believe me when I say we get asked that often. Well, what's going on in this community? Or, a councilman will call and say, well, I heard there's a group here. What are they doing? We need to be able to answer those questions. And each month, if you send us a report saying that we had, 14 youth show up at a after-school drug prevention program, that's something we can tell them. If you ran, 30 elders through an elder nutrition program each week, you provided that many meals. I mean, those things.
Say we have a problem, we have people wanting to give to a nonprofit organization that are willing to help us a lot, but they can't, we don't have any proof because we've never gotten our number. Is there any way that we could possibly go before the council or present it to the council or to the administration in any way that would speed that process up?
No, I can tell you that they can't speed that process up. However, we do know a lady with the IRS. Give us a call, give Tammy a call in the morning.
We were at the Hard Rock and talked to two ladies that were.
Yeah, we'll get a hold of those gals.
And Pam talked to them and they said that they would go directly to the IRS and find out the problem.
Yeah.
And they notified us later, said that they had checked on everything, and it seemed like our paperwork was all ready to go, but they were, at that time, they were like a year or something behind.
Okay, what we should do is call those folks again and say, okay, we're 6 months later, or whatever it is.
It's been over a year.
Yeah, it's almost a year, and say, where are we at? Because we need this. And you may be able to get an interim number. We'll check it out though, because that's going to be real important. Make sure, give us a call before Friday's over, so we can get that started.
You have caller ID on your phone?
Yes, I do, but I have no idea how to use it. I don't know how to use it, so it doesn't help. Yeah, I'll still take your call. But again, hey, folks, if you've got an issue call us, because that's what we're here for, is to try to help. We may not know the answer. I don't know but we know somebody who will know somebody to get you the answer, and we'll work to get that happening.
One of our main problems, we don't even know exactly who to go to.
Yeah.
Or what, and we've got a lot of help from your office. And not complaining,
Yeah,
because every time we've asked someone, they try to go.
yeah, we'll get a hold of that. We'll get a hold of the IRS and try to figure that one out. If you do when you do a monthly financial report for your organization, include, of course, what you've spent, what came in, all those things. Send us a copy, because it'll show what you're doing. We're not really asking you to do much more than what you're already doing. Just send us a copy. I know if you're running a food bank in Northeast Oklahoma, you're working with a Northeast Oklahoma food bank out of Tulsa, and you're doing a really great report that you have to do every month for those folks. Send us a copy. If we get that, I mean, we're gonna put that in your file, and when someone calls and asks, what's going on, in this community, if we don't know off the top of our head, we're gonna look at the file and say, well, here, look at all the stuff they're doing. So send us copies, flyers that you're doing. Just send us copies of all that stuff, because we know you're doing great work. Our key is, you need to tell us about it. And that's, basically the bottom line is with your funder, tell them what you're doing. That way we can tell the people who divvy up our money what's going on and all the great work you all are doing in the communities. Well, we pretty much covered that, didn't we? What we really wanted, our goal as an organization is to get you all ready to go get funding from other foundations, other sources, so that you've diversified, your income streams, and you're not relying on Cherokee Nation for, all the blood that runs through your veins. We want you to get out and be able to compete successfully. And one of the ways that you're going to be able to do that is if you've got the evidence to show that you're running your organization in a business-like manner, you know where the money comes from, you know where it's going, and these are the results of your programs. All those things are things that you need to ask yourself, so you know how you doing, and you ask your community, how are we doing? Okay. I think we probably beat that horse to death. Are there any questions at this point? Anybody? Okay. Kevin's taking pictures. Ooh. All right. Let's take a break here, and then we'll come back and do this a little exercise, okay? Let's take a 10-minute break real quick, and there's some drinks and something to chew on. Keep your belly and backbone from bumping. And then we'll convene again here in 10 minutes, okay? Okay, here we go. We're going to do this little exercise. It's should be in the materials you received. It's about the community cleanup. A benefactor has provided your organization with $500 to do a cleanup within your park. It's in your material somewhere. 8, okay, somebody found it. Thank you. Yes, page 8 in your hymnals now. We'll do the first, second, and last verse. So never sing the third verse. This person has provided you with $500 to do this community park cleanup. What I'd like you to, want you all to do is sit here together and you know, kind of group yourselves together, you know, and you know, maybe 4 of you or whatever. I don't even know how many people we got here tonight, but I don't want you causing problems with whatever group you join. Okay.
I just don't know if I can switch the group.
I was saying the group's going to tell you to go. That's what's going to happen. But what I want you to do in that group is start listing things. So just make a list of how you will go to that funder and show them that this was a successful cleanup day. You're going to have to define what success is, and then what evidence are you going to gather that day to prove to them that you spent their money wisely, and they ought to give you some more, because you think that this outfit's got more money and would be willing to give it to you if you show that this little $500 one that they've handed you, you did a great job with. So let's take about 10 minutes to make those lists. You all just kind of gather up there, and y'all up there, and some folks here, and just visit amongst yourselves, and we'll work on that exercise. What evidence are you going to provide as funder that most people get successful projects?
Kurt says we're doing good.
It's showing up as there on you. I bet it has to do with keeping the fact that it's being filmed. And I'm watching this.
That's what I was at.
We could try to get a timer or something for them to throw up so that even if we had this propped up there, they could zoom in on it and show the timer or something on it. I'll ask them about that.
We have just 3 or 4 minutes to go. Yes.
That'll be Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. You don't ever say anything. We're not doing what you're wrong for corporate. But he can do that, yeah. We can actually, we have a website. The website. I have that one.
Going to Grand Nation.
She said, do you have, she said, do you have a website? I said, no, yeah, I see if I can always get one.
She didn't know about some of her.
You got it ready?
2
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
I'm making this up and not working. You know, people sitting at home and going, hey, I'm hitting refresh. I'll check. I bet there's something.
We got 1 minute, 1 minute.
I'm sure that there's got to be something. All right. 30 seconds.
You got 7? You got 7?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's think about what we just did. In your groups, how many of you had 3 things that you got on your list? 3. Okay, anybody have 6? 6. Okay. Ooh. Now, earlier today when we did this, we were told that this was the A row, this was the B row, that was the C row, and you all would be sitting in, let's say not the best. However, we've just disproved that with this fine group who has done great work.
Well, you don't even know what we put down yet.
But this is called the introduction. We're introducing the fine work that you just did. Tell us.
We got this full, don't we?
Yeah. We're easily fooled. Okay. Tell us what's on your list.
Go ahead.
Picture of volunteers together and in action, big picture, and then
Okay, we're going to take a picture, a group picture,
afterwards,
and then afterwards, and we're going to take a picture of them
picking a match.
doing stuff. Okay. We taking any other pictures?
Yes, before and after.
We're going to do a before and an after. That's great.
Pictures of the trash bags.
Ooh, pictures of the mound of trash bags. Ooh, that'll be a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Any other pictures?
Don't think of any more pictures.
No more pictures.
Okay, let's talk about pictures. Pictures are one of the easiest things you can do for evidence. I need pictures of y'all doing stuff. Those we can tell stories with. A lot of times we'll get a before or an after, and there's never anybody in those pictures. It's like magic has taken place, and the painting fairy has come in and gone, boing, it is now green. We don't know what's happened in between, but we do know that something was before and now it looks really nice. Show us the in-betweens. Show us people doing stuff. Now, if you're going to put that on your website, one of the things you can do is at your registration, because that's on your list, right? To register all the volunteers that came in?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay. The first thing they're doing is registering. You make a quick little form that says that it's okay with them if you use their picture on your website or in advertising or whatever for your organization. You do that. The parents sign it, the parent signs it, whatever, and now you've got a release form for you to use that picture. That way you're covered no matter what. With adults in a public park like this instance, they have no expectation of privacy, so you can actually take their picture and use it any way you want because they're out in public. Kids, let's be careful with that, okay? But, you can take care of it. There's a way to do it, and they took care of that with their registration. What else have you got?
Community businesses donated food for lunch.
Okay, we went out, and you got partners.
Right.
You went and got some more partners to leverage that 500 into more. And they provided a lunch, right? Okay.
Somebody else provided T-shirts.
We got another outfit. We got more partners that provided T-shirts that said, we survived the park cleanup. And depending on what the park looked like before, survival may be a real goal. So, again, you're doing a couple of things there. You're gathering partners. You're showing the original donor how involved you are within the community. And you're providing these T-shirts to the participants. So now when they go to the grocery store, they go to school, they go to wherever, someone says, ooh, cool T-shirt. Where'd you get that? And there's advertising for you now. So great things are going on. What else have you got for us?
Newspaper article.
A newspaper article. Great things. How many of you live in a town that does not have a newspaper? Okay, some of us do. I don't. Yeah.
We don't in our community.
However, there are other avenues. One of the organizations in the town I live in uses the school newsletter. They partner with the school, and the school was more than happy to have information about what was going on in the community. So it became more of a community paper, not just a school newsletter. So think about how you might partner with more folks. Again, that's going to make a difference to this funder. What else have we got?
Financial report
A financial report to who?
to the funder.
Okay, you're going to also do it to your board though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first thing is goes to the board, but then you're going to turn that into the funder. And you're going to have, you gave us this is what we did with it. We've got donations from these people for the lunch, for the t-shirts, to do this, and they're going to say, whoa, these people are dealing with this as a business. These are folks we like doing business with. Let's see if they could use, $7,000, $8,000 next week. You do it again with that. The next thing you know, they're going, hey, maybe we should be giving them more like 70,000. Laugh, it happens. It happens. I know some places where it's happened. So you never know. It starts out small, but if you're doing things right, you never know where it's going to end up. What else have you got for us?
Letters from the city.
Okay.
Letters.
Thank you notes. Yeah.
I said it that way.
Okay. Did you have a comment?
I was wondering do we count the food donations and the t-shirts in kind?
Depending on how it came, it could either be in kind or it could be cash. Yeah, whatever, however it shows up on your doorstep, show it as that.
Sometimes like from the grocery store, we get
Yeah, I mean,
$50 card or something like that.
yeah, however it shows up, put it in there that way.
Letters of appreciation.
Yeah, thank you notes. How many, when you get donations, do you provide thank you notes?
Always.
When someone gives you something, that $500 that you're hoping will turn into $70,000, when you say thank you for $5, they're a whole lot more likely to give you more. When you show appreciation. There's an outfit that my wife and I have been supporting for the last 12 years, and we've decided maybe we shouldn't be supporting them, because guess what? How many thank you notes we've received in those 12 years?
1.
0. So we're really rethinking. And if that happens to one of your donors, guess what? They're going to think about it too. My daughter got married last fall. And I love it because her mother's, they're home for Christmas. Have you got those thank you notes done?
Yeah.
How many of those thank you notes, have you still got to do? I mean, get those notes. When someone gives you money to your organization, tell them how much you appreciate it. It's a real simple thing to do, and it pays huge dividends. What else we got?
Well, how well people expressed they were excited about doing it, and let's do it again.
Testimonials. Oh, yeah.
And they want to do it again now.
Yeah, and those can go in your newspaper article. They can go in your thank you note. I mean, gather those, because those are going to go in all kinds of places. Because, this was so much fun to do. I got to, see, work with people I haven't worked with in years. This was great, whatever. Those are going to be the meat of your article and your thank you notes. Anybody got anything else that we didn't talk about already? Any other ideas? Y'all are thinking about something because I can hear the wheels turning. Get some 3-in-1 oil and take care of that. Do it. Okay.
Whenever you get funding from larger donors, one of the things that I noticed in some of the stuff is they were saying actually invite those people to your next functions and everything. Let them actually see it in work rather than just sitting on pictures.
Yeah, invite them. Hey, they may want to become members of the board. You never know. And an invite's a simple thing to do. Yeah, great idea. Invite them. See where that's going to go. Okay, those are evidence that you have collected to help your donor. Now let's think about those same things, because we don't want to double up work. We want to get a lot of use out of the one thing we do. How can we use that same evidence to attract more volunteers or more recognition in our community? Awards for what? What are you going to give the award for?
For their contributions.
Okay.
Their, you know.
Make a plaque of their contribution saying thank you.
Luncheon and a little luncheon.
Okay.
A little plaque.
You know, you already said you were going to do one thing. It's a great, thank you and to get help in your community. The T-shirts. Well, what a great thing. It does it advertises, it shows that you've got partners, and now, people are advertising, months later that you exist and are doing stuff. It's a great idea. What else are we going to do? We've got this list of people that have registered. What are we going to do with that?
Contact them back for offer activities.
Yeah, let them know, hey, if you had fun at this, we're going to do this. We're having this, benefit dinner for this, next week. Would you like to come? Whatever. Just invite them to something else. You've got their list now. You know how to. What else can we do? What are we going to do with this newspaper article? How are we going to use that? We talked a little bit about it before. What was the last thing we talked about we were going to gather? From our participants, we were going to get testimonials, right? Now, when you say, this person said that and you put their name on it, but they're going, yeah, I was there. I did that. It was fun. You ought to come with us. We're having a great time. Pull them in. Again, it's the moth to the flame kind of thing. People will come just to watch other people burn down. You want to watch. People are having a good time. Let's go see what's happening. They had a good time and I wasn't there. Why, that's impossible, because I'm the life of the party. It'll happen. That's, of course, why you don't get invited to anything. But
I'll tell you, how about newspapers? If everybody's had the experience with the local newspaper that I've had, it makes you think 2 or 3 times and read it about 4 times and you go back over and double check.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just the local paper here. We deal with papers in other places. We've had the same problem. It's just my looks, I guess. But I've got lots of problems with newspapers.
And that's why if you can find someone on your board who can write an article, it's like, here's the article, here's the picture that goes with it.
We've actually done that.
Yeah, and you've got a better chance. I won't say it solves the problem, no, but you'll have a better chance of getting your story out the way you want it. Because after you give that, if someone comes to do the story, they're going to tell what they want. And if you write it for them, you've got a better chance of getting your story out there.
Create a Facebook page and you'll do what you want there anyway.
Yeah, do it as a Facebook page. We've got all that available to us now. Through Google now you can have your own website where you can tell your story. There's all kinds of ways to use technology these days to tell your story the way you want it told. Okay, are we good now with that? Oh.
I was just reading, it's before the start of the Little League season, and have all the volunteers show up at the opening of the Little League.
Oh, yeah.
Would be another way to.
Yeah, for everybody to say thank you. These are the people who cleaned up this field for us, so we have a nice, safe place to play. Let's all give them a hand. Yeah, and a T-shirt. It's like, we're gonna root for everybody. It's whatever. Ways to say thank you are going to bring in volunteers. Volunteers will run from you if they don't feel appreciated. It's just the way folks are. Okay, where are we going next? Okay, evaluations and the information they provide. We've got different types of tools that we're going to look at next. We talked about several of them in this little exercise. Interviews focus groups, surveys, needs assessments, community assessments. Again, I'm not real crazy about especially community or needs assessments. I think we ought to be looking at our assets. What are our community assets? What have we got to work with? You know, because that's, you know, we're gonna play with the toys we got, you know, and not cry about the toys we don't have. So let's find out what we got to play with and build something with that. If you look at this list, we think about interviews. Those are great for gathering really in-depth information. If you've got a very complex question you want to ask, well, there's a lot of nuance, a lot of different angles that may go, you're going to want to go with an interview. But if you're looking at, hey, Mark, here's the question, and Mark, 1 through 5, whether you care about it. If that's the thing, you can, you may be looking at a survey or even, some type of needs assessment or community asset mapping or any of those things. You may be doing that. As you look at the list, though, at the top here, you're going to be looking at tools that get you in-depth information that take a lot of time. You're not going to get 100 interviews done in a day. You may get 100 surveys done in a day. So as you come down, the depth of information is going to be less, but the breadth of that information is going to get brighter. So think about that as you're looking at tools. Interview benefits, of course, one, it's a huge compliment to the person. If I'm going to come and I'm going to interview you because you're the expert and I need that information. They're going to feel pretty good about that. And they're going to want to tell you what, this story that they have. And boy, you can get down into the, what's going on in your community that way. If that's what you're looking for. Again, you're going to have a very small representative population that you're dealing with, though, and it's going to get harder to extract data out of those conversations. There's ways to do it, and if you really need to do that, let me know and we'll help you with that. But it's more difficult to do. If we look at focus groups, basically it's a bunch of folks in one interview. You can get relatively fast responses to questions this way, because you're asking 10 people the same question at once, so you're going to get your time spent is coming down per the number of people you do. One of the things I think we should do, especially in our communities, is if we're going to do a focus group, the people that we invite, let them know what you're going to ask. So they know what's going on. And they may want to think about it a while before they get there, so that they've got, a response to you. So, think this out in advance and when you invite, let people know what you're going to be talking about. One of the things that you really do need to be careful about is this thing called groupthink. You can have one very strong personality in the group that says, well, this is the answer. And a lot of people will go, okay, that sounds good to me. And yeah, that's fine. So you have to be, as a facilitator, because you'll be facilitating these, you need to be aware of that and make sure that you go around the room and you go, is that really what you think? Go right to them and say, are you good with that? And whatever they tell you, be okay with it. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to check in with you. Or, okay, well, that's a little different than what I'm hearing. This is that really what you meant?
Yes.
Okay, there's some adamant there. I like that. Okay, well, we'll get that down.
Change it.
No, we won't. And that's a key. Whatever they say, whether you like it or not, make sure you get it down the way they said it.
And exactly who said it?
I don't care who.
I do.
Who doesn't matter to me as much as what, because you want to make sure that they see their input in whatever the final product is. And that's the important key right there, is they can find where they told us something, we paid attention, and it's now in the final product. Because that's going to make those folks feel better than anything else, is, whoa, they asked me. And I said that, and look, right here it is. They put it in here. Wow. You know, and they're going to be drawn into your group. They're going to say, hey, these folks, you know, are really trying to help. I want to help them. You know, it's a way to work that in. Be careful about the groups you're choosing. You know, this is an invitation. You know, what population do you want to ask this question to? Because you're only going to have maybe 4 or 5 questions. Who's going to know the answers to the questions you're asking? And make sure you invite those folks. Let's see. Surveys. We do a lot of surveys. The evaluation that you're going to take here in a little bit is basically a survey. You know, when you do surveys, you can do a lot of them fairly quickly. You know, you can do 100 of them. I mean, we're going to get, what do we got, 25 people here? You know, I'm going to get 25 of those tonight. If I don't, you're not leaving the door, so that's fine. You know, that's just the way I am. But, you know, we're going to gather data tonight on how we did. Because if you don't tell us, it don't get any better than this. I'm sorry. This is as good as it gets unless you tell us otherwise.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ain't that scary? Yeah. I mean, that's really sad that this is as good as it gets, yeah? So, we really do need that information. As you really need the information that you're going to your community to ask. So, you know, you need to really, pay attention to that. Now, who do you ask and how do you ask? There's one really pet peeve I have about surveys, and that's when they write the question, but they put an "and" in the middle of it. So now it's really 2 questions, and you've only got one answer that's supposed to fit 2 questions. Ooh, that one really. That's when you start seeing me write all kinds of things in the margins. Because I may have really liked this program, but I don't want to repeat it again. Or I didn't like it, but I think I really need it. So if it, don't put ands in your questions. Ask one question at a time so that you can really get an answer to the question you're asking. And then, who are you going to ask them to? If you're doing an after-school tutor program, who are you going to ask questions about it, whether or not they want or need it? Who?
Kids.
Kids. You're going to ask kids? That's one. And who else are you going to ask? Parents. You're going to ask both. Where are you going to find kids to ask these questions of? At school. Where are you going to find parents? They're going to be at maybe a parent-teacher conference or some meeting. They're going to be at the school for a basketball game. They're going to be somewhere around the school. So, you go to the school and you say, would you take a few minutes to fill this out for me? Now, one of the things you may find with a survey is you may get a better response by saying, would you sit down here with me and let me run through a few questions with you? And you ask them the questions and you fill it out for them so that they don't really have to do anything except sit and listen to you. And, with me, a lot of times it's like, no, you get your ugly face out of here.
Give me the paper.
Yeah.
I'm going to you.
Yeah. Mailing, great, thank you. If you mail out surveys, if you get 15% response, you've done wonderful. Feel really happy. Jump up and down, scream and shout, because that's great. If you get 30%, you know, you're a god. I mean, because you have busted somebody out here. You know, this is, you know, that's a great number, but you're not going to get a lot of response. So, you know, the ones you do get are going to be folks that care, and the ones you don't get, you're not sure about. So mailing is probably not the best way. If you're going to do several thousand, okay, but I doubt many of our organizations are going to be doing several thousand. If you do, holler at me, because I've got some machines that'll help you, you know, gather that data off those forums. But you know, think about, you know, what questions do you want to ask? Who's going to know the answers? How do I get to them? You know, and that's basically your survey. You know, think about how you're going to get to them. We get to you know, higher questions where you're looking at maybe a needs assessment. Basically, you're going to be running several surveys. A survey that's 2 pages long or 1 page front and back is as long as you ever want to do at one time. I've seen surveys that have been, you know, 18 pages. I get bored after the 3rd page, and I never get to that really important question that you put on page 14. You know, I just never get there. So keep it short. You know, if you're doing a big, you know, needs assessment, then you may want to do several small surveys, so that then you can compile all that information together. You know, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna have a lot of really good data collection to evaluate. So they are useful. Probably not all that great for our smaller communities. And then one thing that you may want to really look at is, instead of looking at, you know, needs, is go to community assets, where basically you're inventorying. What do we have? What can we use? Who's willing to share their skills and ability with us? And those, again, that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of different surveys to gather all that information. But once you've got it, you've got a huge resource for your community. So, you know, think about that as your organization grows. This will be something that you'll look at as you get into the higher levels of our curriculum, that you may want to look at that. If you do, give us a call. We'll certainly be glad to visit with you and help you prepare those kinds of things. Sharing information. Boy, it's one of the things we don't do well, and it bothers me a lot. Each time you come to one of our trainings, one of our meetings, one of our conferences, we ask you to fill out a survey of some kind. We're going to do it here in a little bit. We need to do a better job of sharing that data back with you. It's your data. You gave it to us. You need to know what we did with it. You know, Chris is working on this year's conference, which will be May 30th and 31st here at NSU. So get that on your calendars. But he's already asking about the data that we gathered last year. What workshops did you all attend? Which ones did you like? Which ones didn't you like? What do we need to build on? That data we're using. And he's doing that now. You know, 3 weeks ago we did the technology workshop on Saturday. We asked a question about age groups, because we wanted to know some of the demographics of our core audience, y'all. One of the reasons we did that was we're looking at sites to have the conference, and you know, how compact do we need to have the facility? How spread out can it be? You know, if 80% of our audience is going to be, you know, 65 or older, we may not be wanting them to walk all the way across campus at some camp somewhere. You know, that may not be a viable option. We may need to be on a single floor. or at least have elevator available to go to the second floor, that sort of thing. That's why we're asking that stuff. There's.
It would be good to know, though, what other people thought of the conference, because some classes you go to, you think, well, I didn't really get anything out of that, did other people? And how did they respond to that? Because at the end, you think,
And what we did there was we asked you to rate the ones that you went to and which ones you liked the best, all the way. And so we've scored all those.
Right.
And we have a list of, these are the top 5.
you never share it, then
Yeah.
just wondering, kind of what everybody else thought about it.
Yeah, we've got that, and that's, I say, we do a bad job, and I apologize, because really, I do a bad job of that. Laugh, I do, it's me, it's on me, I'm the one who does it, and I don't do good. I know that, and I apologize to all of you. I will do better. I tell you what, at the next Saturday training, I will report on last year's conference workshops. How's that?
We won't let you out the door.
You're on. That's a fair. For those of you who didn't hear, she said she would not let me out the door unless I brought that information. And that is fair. Hey, that's fair. I'm good with that. If I forget it, I'm going to have to stay there. I'm sorry. I'll just hang my head and stay. But I will bring that information to share. Because, I don't.
It is interesting, because sometimes you leave
Yeah.
you think, I didn't get anything out of that.
Yeah,
And you think,
and the guy next to you thought it was the best thing he'd seen all day.
Right.
Yeah, that happens. So we'll share that with you. We'll bring that. That's a great thing. Share your data as you gather it. Figure out ways to share that with people. It's theirs. It belongs to them. We should share it with you. And it's a way of showing respect. And like I said, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that well. There's usually more than one way to do this. You think you're going to do a survey and you end up doing it as an interview, taking that survey and sitting down and visiting with folks. You think you're going to do interviews and instead all of a sudden you're doing a focus group because it morphed into that was a better way. Be open to that. Don't worry about, we're going to do it this way because this is the right way. Well, ain't no such thing. The right way is the way that gets you the answers to the questions you need to know. Find out what those questions are. That's the hardest part. Figuring out who knows the answers and figuring out a way to ask those questions of them. And those are really the keys. So, on your paper, the last page is the one with the slides. I want you to write down what you're going to do, what skill you've learned today are you going to implement in the next 30 days. What's the first step you're going to take to implement that? And then what's your commitment to really improve that skill? I want you to think about that. Those are yours. I don't want that. I want you to know that. That's information for you, to help you. Tammy is passing out our evaluation for this evening. There will be a guard at the door. You won't leave unless you hand one of those in. That's your ticket out. And lastly, I want to share this with you. This is one of my favorite cartoons, where Dilbert says, I don't have any accurate numbers, so I just made this one up. And studies have shown that accurate numbers aren't any more useful than ones you make up. And the guy asked, well, how many studies show that? And the answer is 87. So, if you ask me a question and I tell you the answer is 87, is that an accurate number or is that one I made up? It's probably one I made up. But we'll try to find out a real answer for you later. Call me on it and say, hey, that's 87. You said this. And we'll get you the best answers we can. I want to thank all y'all for coming tonight. And for our audience at home, those who played with us, we appreciate that. And we'll have, next month, on the last Tuesday of the month, we will do Mod 2, which is setting goals for your organization. So same bat time, same bat channel. we will go over setting goals. Any, yes?
Can you go back to the last slide that was up there?
Let's see, that one?
That one, and I have another question for you. Who are you?
Oh, thank you. I am what's left of Mark Parman. I am the Evaluation and Outcomes Measurement Specialist, is why I got to do this. Thanks. I was going to do this at the beginning, and I forgot all about it. You know, because I'm on TV, and it's the first time that's ever happened, you know, on purpose. Normally, it's just the security cameras watching me, you know. So, if you need to get a hold of me, my email is probably the best way, and it's mark-parman, P-A-R-M-A-N, at cherokee.org. And like with Tammy or Chris or Kevin, their emails are the same thing. It's their first name, a dash, their last name. So, yeah. I really want to thank you all for coming. I mean, you spending your time this evening to come. I mean, it shows that your commitment to your community, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate the work you all do within your communities. It's, you know, you are the best of Cherokee Nation, and we are honored to get to work with you all. So, fill us out, have something to eat on the way home, and we'll see you in a month, if not before. Have fun.